Alabama with a really tough defeat to Oklahoma. Now the Iron Bowl. We're going to talk about the game that took place on Saturday, where Alabama is mentally, and will they be ready for the Iron Bowl coming up? And they better be. It's time for Elephant in the Room, brought to you by mybookie.ag. We appreciate MyBookie. And don't forget right now, guys, as we go into the holiday season, 300% deposit bonus for the casino and 50 free spins using the promo code next round. So when you're at the families, or maybe you're at the in-laws families and you're not having a good time, mybookie.ag's got you covered. All right, we're going to talk Alabama football, but first, let me hit Jake's open. All right, you know by those whistles that it's time for Elephant in the Room. That's Jake Coker, national championship quarterback, 2015. And, of course, the host of Elephant in the Room. I'm Mick Gillispie, just hanging out. Roll Tide, buddy.
It was a rough weekend.
That sucked. Where do you start?
I start by as soon as that game ended, I was like, all right, who do we have next in basketball? we got Houston next.
Let's go out to Vegas. Let's go out to Vegas tomorrow for game 2, right?
Rob, our buddy Rob's over in he's doing Thanksgiving in Vegas, and he's going to the game tonight with the whole family.
Wow.
That's a heck of a trip. Pretty awesome to line it up with Alabama, Houston. And then we got what? We have Rutgers tomorrow, I think.
Yep. These are great games.
I wasn't lying when I looked at the schedule. Yeah. I wasn't lying.
Yeah. What the hell happened?
I don't even know where to start, man. You know, the Vanderbilt vibes came back. You know, the pick sixes. I mean, I know it was one pick six, but set them up for another one. I mean, it just offensive line. It wasn't like, you know, our right tackle was struggling, but we didn't seem to be playing with any emotion whatsoever. It was kind of just like we were walking through that game. Defensively, bend and don't break, but you know, I mean, they score 10 points the hard way, and then we gift them with 14. I mean, it's very hard to come back from a pick six and then another interception in your own territory. And I you know, there's no way we're going to avoid the attempted tackle on Jalen's part at the end of that game, or at that other pick six. I don't know. It's just everything, every small detail, whether it was playing or not playing, body language. You know, you've got a national championship on the line or a playoff berth on the line, and we just didn't seem like we wanted it. We just weren't ready to go. And I mean, I know that it's hard to say that, you know, when you're watching it on TV, but everything that I saw just indicated that we weren't there mentally. We were there physically, but we weren't real physical. It was really hard to watch, you know, and I think everybody that's going to watch this show is going to agree. That's the worst performance I've seen from an Alabama football team probably since 04, 05.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't remember us being dominated like that, you know, shooting ourselves in the foot and then just scoring 3 points. I mean, when's the last time we only scored 3 points in a game?
Yeah, it's been forever, man. What was it like? Would they say like 2002 or 3 or something? I mean, it's man. It's been forever.
You know, I think, you know, when Coach Saban retires, we lose 25 guys in the portal. You know, you're trying to mix and match, put guys in there, you know, just piecemeal a team together. I think Kalen DeBoer's done a great job of that. I still Again, to be 8-3 right now, it's about where I thought we'd be, maybe a little bit better. After that Oklahoma game, I didn't think we'd get blown out like that by Oklahoma. That was pretty disappointing, obviously.
Well, they're not that good. That's probably one of the reasons.
Yeah, it's so weird to be in that playoff conversation and then just get embarrassed by Oklahoma that way. It kind of ruins every argument that you have to be in the playoff. You don't go to Oklahoma five. What are they? They were 5-5. Now I think they're 6-5. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't make an argument to be in the playoff with a loss like that. It's just, it ends kind of all the playoff dreams, in my opinion. Now, hopefully we go out there and dominate Auburn and we get some help from Vandy this weekend and some other teams, but I don't know. It's just hard watching that. I can watch a team that you just know that they don't make many mistakes. They bust their ass. They do everything that they possibly can to win and still lose. I can watch that all day long. I can pull for that all day long. But just us showing up or us throughout a season, we either show up and dominate or we don't show up at all, and we just expect that the Crimson Helmet's going to win the game.
Yeah,
and
it don't work like that.
Yeah, and I when I say that, I've got to know a lot of those guys a little bit. I don't know any of them really well, but there's a respect there because we all played at Alabama. I feel like I know Jalen a little bit. I love the guy. I support him. I want him to do well so bad. But I think he looks at that performance and he's like, man, I could have left more on the table. I think everybody on that team would say the same. Offense, defense, offensive line. Kobe Prentice had some mistakes that you got to fix. But we've got a problem with, and it's receivers, quarterback. We are not consistent in the pass game, and especially at those intermediate levels, which I've harped on it all season long. But being precise with your route running, your timing, being on the same page with the quarterback, we're just not there. And I said that when Isaiah Bond left, when Niblack left. We've lost a lot of older guys that may not have been the most talented receivers that have ever been in Alabama, but when you lose those older guys that understand how to run routes and understand where their landmarks are and how that relates to the quarterback's thought process, it makes it really hard to bring in new guys that haven't been around Jalen, that don't really understand, what needs to be done in terms of route running to make things easier for everybody involved. And it's really starting to show that those struggles have just become insurmountable.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm with you, man. I think put it well. The problem that we have is that we really like these guys and we're pulling for them, right? And we don't want to be critical because we care. We know that Milroe's a good dude. He tries to do things the right way. Shows up early, leaves late. He's a great leader.
And he has these great plays, and he's so athletic, and he's got talents that nobody in the country have outside of Jalen Milroe. But the inconsistency, I don't understand. It's just even in the run game too. You watch some of these runs, you're like, just get north, just get north. Be physical here. You're bigger, faster, stronger than the guy that's trying to tackle you. And I don't know what it just looks like mentally. He's, sometimes he's playing so comfortable, and then sometimes it's like he's second guessing himself a little bit. And I hate to see that. I've been there. I know what that feels like. It's an awful feeling, and it happens to everybody. But I hate to see it come at a moment like that where it kind of ends your playoff chances.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, there's still a chance Bama gets in. They need a lot of help, but they got to take care of Auburn, right? And I don't even want to get into the Auburn game yet, because if we get together later this week, we'll talk about that then. I want to kind of stay put with where we're at, because my concern is, well, first off, I don't understand what Jalen is doing, running backwards so much. He wasn't running backwards against LSU. You saw he's got blocks. He's running away from the block and going backwards on some of those plays, which I know he's better than that. I mean, I've seen him run. So I don't understand that. It's so confusing to me on those 15 runs, how bad they were compared to what we've seen in the past. It's not like we don't have a body of work where the guy's doing amazing things, right? So it was a terrible game for him. And at some point, when the season's on the line, there's other guys that play the same position. That's just the way life works. Like, if I get on here and I stink, they're going to be like, you're going to give me the benefit of the doubt a couple times. And then you're going to call Reed and you're going to be like, Reed, I like Mick. He's a great guy. Right, he's terrible, man. He's not setting me up right. He's stuttering all the time.
Well, here's the thing, though.
He's got to get it together, man. I know he's only got one game.
But when you're Kalen DeBoer and you look at our offense, all right, on paper, we've got a pretty strong offensive line. Usually if we play up to our potential, we're pushing people around.
Yeah.
If we understand how to protect, then we protect pretty well. We got a quarterback that can run. We got two more than capable running backs. But our weakness, in my opinion, and I've said this over the summertime, those guys leaving, when you can't trust your guys running routes, and I know we've got explosive guys. I mean, Jeremy Bernard, he's got a lot of experience with Kalen DeBoer. He knows what he wants. Kalen obviously wanted him, bringing him from Washington to Alabama. I mean, he's our best guy in terms of running routes in traffic, making catches in traffic, using his body the right way. He's our most consistent guy. The rest of them, and Ryan Williams is, what I think about Ryan. He's, to me, going to be one of the most prestigious receivers to ever play at Alabama. He's going to be, win all kinds of awards, get drafted high, all that. But he's still 17. And when you watch him run routes, that aren't deep posts or double moves or big explosive plays, he does struggle a little bit there, trying to navigate traffic and be on time and make catches in traffic. And I think that's just lack of time running routes. He's been there, 6 months now? He got there in June or May or whatever.
Yeah.
And again, he should be a senior in high school. Again, when you really have to rely on a guy that's 17 years old to run those routes and make those plays, at that intermediate, shallow level, that's not a good sign in terms of depth and experience at that position. So, putting a guy like Ty in there who's going to be in the pocket mostly making throws, you're completely reliant on having receivers that you can count on. And to me, that tells me, you're leaning pretty heavily on that quarterback run, which obviously we are in the run game. You have to, and then some explosive plays here and there. If you bench Jalen, I don't know if it's much better given our depth at receiver right now.
Right. Well, there's no rhythm though, man. It's like when you got a good passer, there's a rhythm that those guys have. You can't just sit there and blitz them, because they'll just pick you apart on it. They're going to look where the blitz is coming from and take advantage of it. It just feels like he gets blitzed, and once you get pressure straight ahead on him, he's like, it's like kryptonite. He just can't do anything, or he hasn't done anything. How can he adjust on that?
How can he adjust on that?
Is it too late?
Well, either it should be picked up or it shouldn't. If it's picked up, then you got to have faith. You got to hang in there, and you got to make the throw on time. If it's not, you and your receivers got to be on the same page. Point out your sights or your hots. Know your hots. Point out the sights. If they come, you got to get the ball out. To me, when I watch Jalen play, he's got to, in order for him to be as effective as possible, I mean, he's not the most effective standing in that pocket and getting the ball out. I mean, that's not his game. And he tends to hang on to it a little bit too long and not be aware of the guys around him. I mean, a lot of times he gets stuck in the pocket and you see a lot of turnovers, right?
Right.
Whether it be the interception at Oklahoma, the fumble at Vandy. I think there might have been a couple of them, but he worries me when he stands in there and takes too long because, I mean, obviously it's just turnover city at some point when you're hanging in there and just not getting the ball out. And I don't know if that's, what he's seeing, if he doesn't feel comfortable, getting the ball out on time because he's not sure if his receiver understands where to go. I mean, you watch that, they throw that now and Kobe Prentice is standing there like, I don't even know what the thought process is there. You got a guy, I mean, he's almost pressed against the receiver that you're throwing it to, and you're not going to go block him, and you look around like, what just happened? I mean, it's just there's so many things across the board that aren't being executed properly that you just don't know what to point at and say, that's it. That's our problem. I mean, I don't know what to say. I haven't seen this type of football again since I was in 4th, 5th grade.
Yeah. And I've seen it and I've talked about it before. We just, we've been so lucky because we've had Nick Saban, and Nick Saban, it was either you're going to be disciplined or disappointed, right? And guess what? We're disappointed.
And I can't sit here and say that I didn't somewhat expect this. I mean, new systems, new coaches, new ways of communication with these coaches. A lot of things have changed. This isn't Coach Saban's program anymore. I mean, there's a lot of upheaval in a short period of time, and you're just scrambling to make things work this year. And so, next year this happens, we get blown out and it's 24-3 and we look like that. I would be like, man, this is a problem, but just hard to digest us getting beat that way.
The problem that I have though with that is here we are, right? Like we're in the middle of this season and we've seen this team play and we know what they have. They're not, to me, these aren't games where they're losing because they don't have enough talent to win. They don't have enough discipline to win. They don't have enough energy to win. They don't have enough. They come in flat in some of these games. The minute that they have success, they can't handle it. They're the biggest letdown team that we've had since 2010, maybe even before that. Because it's like the minute that they have anything that they can kind of hang their hat on, they get so damn confident that they don't show up. And I mean, to me, that's something that Nick Saban taught you guys. We're so used to that. It's like, don't read your press clippings. Don't think you're that good because somebody's going to come in here and humble you. And these guys just keep getting humbled. But this last game was so below the standard that we have at Alabama. It's not that they lost the game. And, I get it, man. You lose some games. I mean, think about what I said after the Vandy game. Hey, they weren't prepared. They got surprised, but I wasn't that upset about it. Just watching that effort, whether it's Milroe trying to tackle the guy on the touchdown return or the offensive line blocking or all the missed catches that they had or Milroe running away from his blocks and backwards. He's got a first down and he decides to go backwards for some reason. Like to me, it was just the entire thing was awful. Just not up to the standard, And if this becomes acceptable, guess what? We're going to be right in the middle of the pack where we are right now.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said right there. And I'll say this again. I can't tell you how much I pull and appreciate Jalen and got a lot of respect for him, man. He is in a lot of ways helped carry Alabama on offense, the last 2 years. But that tackle there at the end of the game, that was, on the pick six, that bothered me a lot. I mean, I just, it's like, man, what in the world when you're doing everything to a certain standard and you want to show your teammates you're not quitting, you're tough. I mean, even if you make a mistake, you're not going to get down and just show that quit. I mean, that's what it looked like. I mean, if I throw an interception, I want to put that guy in the third row. I mean,
Right.
I mean,
but you were kind of known to do that to people from time to time.
Yeah, well, to me, when you're the quarterback, especially nowadays, the quarterback is seen as like the softest position out there, outside of maybe a kicker or a punter. I mean, you got to send a message to your teammates that you're one of the guys and you're going to put everything you got on the line to win, no matter what scenario that is. I don't care if you're up, 42-0 at the end of the game and you're still in. You got to send that message and just always prove to your team that, hey, I'm the toughest guy out here and I'm not quitting no matter what. You just always got to have that fight. And I know, I remember not scoring a touchdown against A&M. I reversed field and I got to like the 3-yard line. And, I was doing everything I could to score. It wasn't like I gave up on the play or anything like that. A guy just kind of got me at a weird angle, grabbed my hip, pulled me down, and I was pissed. And Ashawn Robinson, after that game, were on the bus, and he's like, man, that was that first run was pretty good. He goes, but that second one, I could have whipped your ass for that. And he was, I laugh, and he's like looking at me, just straight faced. I'm like, all right, I'll sit back here. Just move on by.
This could be a little bit of a scary dude there.
But it's like, that was when we were playing, it was like just that old school mentality, man, that every workout was a championship workout. Everything you did, like, you're getting judged for it by your teammates, by everybody. And so, I just hate to see any moment in a game taken for granted or just treated as if it's okay to give up, the game's over, you lost, if that makes any sense. I mean, like I said earlier, we lose 24-3 and we're doing everything we can. We're pretty crisp. We look like we at least in the right spot and fighting our ass off. I mean, I get that. I'll cheer you on and support you and love you and, watch till the end.
Yeah.
But after that pick six, I was kind of like, all right, I think I might be done here.
Well, there's something else that happened in the game I want to talk about. And as bad as the effort was, the game plan, the coaching, I'm blaming everybody. Now, so I know on the post-game show here on Cover Crimson, there were some people that were like, don't blame the coaches, blame the players. Don't blame the players, blame the coaches. I'm throwing everybody in the same pot, right? And it was terrible. It wasn't acceptable. I'm disappointed. Hey, take care of Auburn, and I'll tell you, I'll feel a lot better about you guys. But we'll talk about that later. There was something worse in this game. Something so much worse in this game. And it reminded me of the reaction the last time I ate some bad food. Last time I had the stomach cramps, maybe a little too much coffee in the morning. It was a bowl full of awful, right? A bowl full of
it was worse than that. It was worse than that.
Shit, Jake. It's that officiating in this game, and I'm stinking tired of it, man. I'm tired of it. I've been pissed off about it all week. A guy makes up a call on one of the plays of the year. That's one of the best catches for a touchdown in Alabama football history. Let me put that there. okay? And some jackass can't get the call right. Like how do you make that call? Not a holding call, not a pass interference call, a legal touching call. And you're wrong. How the hell do you do that, man? The SEC's got a problem, brother. They got a problem.
My dad was ahead of me, or he was recording the game. He was behind me, and we were texting, throughout the game. And I texted him. I said, "That's the worst call I've ever seen in my life. I don't think I've ever seen one worse." And he was like, "What the hold?" And he didn't know what I was talking about. And then all of a sudden, I get a flood of texts. He's like, "What in the hell is this?" It's so just, that guy should never be able to referee a game again. And it's not like that decided the game, but it essentially it ended any chance of us winning. If there was any opportunity to win that game, it was over after that call. Just complete and total bullshit. And that guy, I don't know who.
Get him out of here.
Flag, but Josh Pate had a great segment on it earlier this week, and it's about time for a national referee association of college football. It's got to happen. Like, these guys just. And I watch. As soon as our game's over, I turn it on Auburn, and it's overtime, and they call pass interference on Auburn on a mesh route, and the guy's clearly trying to avoid everybody. And it almost, it could have cost Auburn the game. Mm-hmm. Who knows what happens if Texas A&M catches that ball on the 2-point conversion in the latter rounds of overtime. But it could have had huge implications on that game as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like these refs, it's almost like they know the rule book, but they don't really understand how it applies to football. They just don't understand the context of certain plays, like that mesh route. A lot of times teams coach, or at least when I was playing, somewhat teach you to rub that defender as you're meshing at the the center of the field. Mm-hmm. And he just completely tried to get around everybody, and just another horrendous call. But it's where we are now. The targeting, that call, these mesh routes, or these pick plays, they just never seem to get it right. And it's always in huge moments of the game where they just feel obligated to throw a flag.
Well, how do you go into this situation and get that wrong? Like, and this is the other thing, man. Like,
and then they meet after the play's over.
I know, but if you and me are doing this, and I say something, and you're like, "Oh, I think he's wrong," you don't go, "Hey, Mick, you just effed that up." You'll normally just kind of lightly help me, just kind of, and then I'll say, "Oh, yeah." Like, they must hate that guy. He must be the guy that doesn't tip at the restaurant. He must be the guy nobody wants to sit next to in the meetings and the plane. Because if anybody liked him, anybody there, they would have been like, "Bro, you are about to fuck this whole game up." Right? When you see him talking, then they conference. Somebody look at the scoreboard.
Oh, yeah. That guy's the Angel Hernandez of college football refereeing.
I'm sorry, dude. It just pisses me. I'm still pissed, man. Like, listen, just do yourself a favor. While you guys are over there pretending that you're talking, look at the scoreboard and be sure. Because you're so damn wrong. You're ruining the game for the kids that are out there busting their ass every day to play this. You took away the catch of the year, right? You ruined the game because we didn't get another down. As a matter of fact, giving the ball back to them ended it. We'd have been down 10. We'd have been down, 14? No, 10. 2 scores with 10 minutes left. Hey, guess what? That's doable for Alabama. I saw this team score 4 touchdowns in like 6 minutes against South Florida. Miracles happen, but not when you have officials like that. And it wouldn't even have been that crazy. You kick the ball off 3 and out, get it back, score, and then all of a sudden their butt gets like this, real tight, and they don't know what to do with the ball. Their offense sucks. They just had a quarterback running around, Jake, that looked like a county high offense when I was calling high school football. They didn't have any receivers. We could have figured that out.
Well, I mean, again, when they didn't really score outside of the 2 turnovers.
That's
I mean,
right.
that's what they, separated themselves from us with, was just a pick 6 and then giving them the ball there on the 20-yard line. I don't know, man. I just
I'm taking a breath.
Yeah, I may have to. I've been saying I may just not watch this game this weekend and let you tell me what happens on the podcast Monday.
If we lose, I'm gonna be so mad.
I don't know. This is a point where
I hate them.
We may be out of the playoff. Who knows? But I always thought when I was playing, I may throw 10 interceptions. I may be the worst quarterback that's ever played, but nobody's going to look at me and say Jake didn't do everything he could for Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything he had all the time is what we got. And if that's anything, if that's the only thing anybody ever said about me, that'd be great. That's fine with me. And I think all those guys need to look themselves in the mirror and have that same mentality, because I mean, if they screw up going full speed, being physical, putting every ounce of effort out that you possibly can, everybody can live with that.
Yeah, I think we all agree with that, dude.
But what we saw Saturday was not that.
I don't get on here and rail at the officials. I know they're not that great, but that call to me, it pushed me off the edge, man. It pushed me off the edge. Now we got to get ready for Auburn. And I don't know about you. I've told the story.
I'll say this. It's so fun. Denzel Duvall is one of my really good buddies, and he's still up in Tuscaloosa. But he used to always, I know he still does, but he was talking about argument he got in with Bryce Young back when he was at Alabama. And Bryce was like, man, he's talking about how, their team would have beat us. And Denzel's like, he's like, we would have whipped y'all's ass. It wouldn't have even been close. We'd have torn y'all up. He's like, Bryce is like, what are you talking about? Why do you think that? He goes, because we'd have gone out, when we went out there, we'd have died for each other. Didn't matter. It was all about winning. Didn't care what happened to our bodies, to our stats, to anything else. It was just winning, and they'd had to cart us off before we quit.
Before we lost you guys.
Yeah, that's right. And that mentality, that's what made that 2015 team so good. We had, don't get me wrong, Derrick Henry, that defense, we had a lot of talent.
He's on my fantasy team, by the way. Another big night for Big Mick Energy.
Yeah. It was a hell of a game last night. They couldn't stop him. It was
great. It was great. He's still going strong. All right, man. Look, let me tell everybody a couple of things. I mentioned this at the beginning of the show, and I want to mention it again now, that right now you can take advantage of this. And holidays are great for some and stressful for others, but we all love to relax and have a good time. And you can do that and take advantage of this deal at mybookie.ag. 300% deposit bonus for the casino and 50 free spins using the promo code next round. So take advantage of that. We know that the holidays, hey man, there's only so many ice cold beers and whatever else you do to relax during the holidays that you can have. So take advantage of that. But no, seriously too, it's a great deal. And it's an offer that we're running right now until the next 3 weeks. So take advantage of that. Like and subscribe at Cover Crimson. Appreciate all the comments that you guys leave. You guys love Jake. I'm kind of just like the guy that hangs in here with him. And I love that from the comments. It's always Coker this, Coker that. And I feel the same way. Let's all just
Coker, look at the camera. Stop drooling on yourself.
You come at me, and now every time I peeked out at my phone, I get attacked.
All right, look at me. What do you expect?
I mean, he's got his hunting gear on. He's ready to go out there a day early and shoot something.
That's right.
I'm just kidding. But guys, like, subscribe, thumbs up, and don't forget we're at covercrimson.com. That's where we got our site. And if you you go right now and get the annual subscription, you get the Cover Crimson t-shirt as part of that for free. So take advantage of it. But have a happy Thanksgiving. We'll talk to you guys about Auburn next show. But we just had to get into this unfortunate stuff today. And those referees stink. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.